And they're off. Large fields and huge pari-mutuel pools result in the best opportunity to profit betting horse racing on Breeders' Cup weekend. WagerTalk's own horse racing expert, Sig, will be joined by handicapper and horse racing contest expert Sean Alvarez as they preview the entire field for Breeders' Cup weekend in the 2021 WagerTalk Breeders' Cup preview and wagering guide. You will receive in-depth analysis of every horse in the 14-race field from our experts, as well as selections and betting strategies from both Sig and Sean, all 14 Breeders' Cup races on Friday and Saturday. For a limited time, if you pre-order the guide before midnight on October 31st, you can save $10 off the regular price and pay only $29.99 for expert selections and analysis for every Breeders' Cup race. Don't hesitate, grab your 2021 WagerTalk Breeders' Cup preview and wagering guide now at wt.buzz/sig.
What?
Oh, yeah, it would help if I was on the screen, Robert. I appreciate it. Though I do realize, listen, it is the World Series, and Robert's Houston Astros are in it, and which makes up for the fact that he also likes the Rockets. But welcome in, NBA Tip-Off Show, guys. It is that time of the day here, and light card on the board, but as usual, we have our customary 4 games with a bonus. We're actually going to talk a little bit about all the games on the card here tonight. We'll have a contrarian. We'll have an overtime game. We'll talk about a couple of the featured matchups, and we'll do it with 3 of the finest, guys. Doesn't get any better than this crew. This, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is the original OG. This is the very first NBA tip-off show many, many moons ago. This was the panel. They were terrible then. They're going to be even worse now. Skee Prophet in the house, my man. Welcome in along with Rob Vino right in the middle. Hitting cleanup today. There he is. Somebody lost a bet. That's why he's on the show. Tony Finn in the house. Always a pleasure to see him. Skee, what is going on, man? Seems like a hot minute since we last saw you here on the show. Talk to us about what you've been doing and what you got going on at WagerTalk right now.
For the most part, I'm waiting for 5 games to really feel extremely confident about what I've seen from each team. So we're almost at that point. Some teams have played 4 games, some teams 3, and slowly starting to build confidence in the NBA. So going to start firing real soon. Today, I don't have a package up, but I have made 2 plays, and I'll add one after the show.
All right. Well, it was an extremely chalky as ass last night. Let's be realistic. What was it? Not 7-2 straight up. I think if it wasn't for the Cavs, right, blowing people out of the water there, and then the Pelicans too. Boy, oh boy, it was chalky, Rob Vino, yesterday. We were on the show. We talked about a few of those games. What did you think? Your takeaway from what we saw last night in the NBA?
Well, I think there's reasons why those 2 underdogs that you spoke of got the money. And it's always 20/20 hindsight, Joe, with this rest or rust, but the Nuggets had been off for quite a while. Cleveland gets Darius Garland back, a Tony Finn favorite, Darius Garland. And they get, that's a pretty good team this year. A little better than I think many people think. They've gone up the power ratings a little bit. And then the New Orleans game was somewhat of a revenge factor, right? They had just played Minnesota a couple nights before, got their doors blown in, and they came back with the win there. But otherwise, it was a pretty decent night. I mean, the best bet that I had was Boston-Charlotte over the total. Didn't need the overtime, got over fairly easy. And the heartbreaker, we talked about it off air, was the Milwaukee-Indiana game over 230. Lines up landed 228, probably had no business staying under, but it did, as happens in the NBA sometimes. So onward to today, Joe.
Onward and upward. Make sure you visit Rob over at WagerTalk.com. Listen, the Cavs did a great job playing some defense last night. 8-35 is what they held Denver, who's got an issue. They got no bench there, Tony Finn. If it ain't that starting 5, good luck, because everyone's going to outscore them here. But don't forget, Cleveland also won their first 3 last year and then only won 19 more the whole year. So what do you got going on for us, Tony Finn? What's been going on with the NBA? What's up at Wager Talk?
So far, so good. 7-3 start to the season. One of my losses yesterday, as well as Rob just spoke to, was the over in the Milwaukee. and Indiana Pacers game, and I think Pacers score 5 points in the last 6 minutes or 5 minutes, and we don't go over it. Figure it out. So there's another team. Cleveland may be one of those teams that you guys just talked about. They have only allowed they're in the last 2 games they've allowed 1 point or less per possession, which is old school Bickerstaff kind of basketball guys. The first 2 games they're pretty ugly though. They allowed 127.5 points per game. So they are the team that I can't put my arms around quite yet. As Skee mentioned, he thinks he's ready to, but it was a good day. 2-1 last night. Would have been 3-0. I think we got fortunate with that Chicago. I got fortunate with that Chicago win there. And I also had Boston, who was just miserable. Again, this team's not defending, but I was fortunate. Went to overtime, ended up winning by double digits. So let's pick some winners today.
All right, let's do it here, guys, and we'll go through all of them, and of course, we'll start with our contrarian game and play of the day. Now, last night we were on Toronto to get the job done, but I believe it was 24 points off turnovers for Chicago. Pretty much did us in, but what a comeback that was. If Van Fleet hits that 3, we're laughing all the way to the bank here. But that's all right. We're going to go with another dog here tonight, and we're going to go with another home dog here tonight as we take a look at the San Antonio Spurs hosting the LA Lakers. So initial reports about this, we saw this open somewhere around the 4.5 and 5 mark, and then, of course, news of LeBron being questionable. He may not go. Welcome back to that situation here. So we have seen it come down to right around that 2.5 mark, which is where we're seeing here. We're not getting any defense from the Lakers, not like what we were used to last year. So, Skee, I'll ask you here. Do you trust the Lakers to go on the road, be a favorite, with or without LeBron in this spot? Can I get you to go contrarian and back the Spurs?
I got a question for you first before I even answer. Like, are the Spurs the contrarian? Like, is everybody not betting the Spurs in the line?
No, the public is betting the Lakers as always. You know that, Skee. The public loves them Lakers. We don't like the public at all. So whatever the public likes, we're going to go the other way. And so be it. With only about 37% of the money, we'll back the Spurs here at 2.5. Don't worry. Listen, you want to be public, Charlie, and go with the Lakers? Don't let us stop you, man. Where are you going to go with it?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, sharps, quote unquote, can lose too. You saw yesterday with the Toronto game. So I look at the Lakers. They had a rough start, but they're about to play a long stretch of easy games. And listening to Anthony Davis talk after that last game, he said, "We got the monkey off our back." He said, "We're about to go play a road trip where we feel like we can get 2 Ws, and we got to start building momentum from this one." So I expect the team to do just that. If LeBron is in, I don't see a soul on the Spurs roster that could stop him. If it's just Anthony Davis and Westbrook, I think Westbrook will play a little bit better because he'll feel more like in a normal role. And I think Anthony Davis is going to eat regardless. So I like the Lakers to go on a nice winning streak. I think 2.5 is pretty much just asking the Lakers to win. I think if you didn't get the Spurs at 4.5, what are you doing here? So give me the Lakers minus 2.5.
Ooh, wow. Sorry, I couldn't hear you over all that chalk you were laying down there. All right, Rob, let's go. Let's talk about it here. We got a Lakers team who we know are going to be the public darlings, but again, they did sacrifice defense here this year. So does that concern you here with this going on the road being a favorite like this?
Yeah, and I think something Skee said early on, he waits for 5 games. You may have to wait for even more than 5 games to truthfully know what's going on here. And it's the reason why it makes this difficult, Joe, because you could say that the Lakers haven't played defense, but I could respond by saying the teams that they played were Memphis, Golden State, and Phoenix, all teams that wanted to push. You know, it's crazy to look at the pace ratings this morning as we head into tonight's game to see that the Lakers are number 1 in pace in the NBA. Is that because Russell Westbrook is their new point guard? Or is that because the other 3 teams with younger legs just said, we're going to push the Lakers and they're going to have to go with us? San Antonio's in the same boat tonight. San Antonio, believe it or not, is right up there in pace rating. It doesn't really, go along with what they were last year, or really what they are, how they're constructed this year. They're constructed as a smallish team that can't play defense, certainly can't protect the paint, to Skee's point about if LeBron's in, nobody can stop him in the paint. Anthony Davis, nobody can stop him in the paint. Russell Westbrook, if he decides to go to the rim, there's no real rim protector outside of Pirtle. So it makes it tough. I would think that the Spurs would push tempo here. Why not? You've just seen 3 teams do it. You've seen 3 teams overall average 118 points against the Lakers. I would go. It looks like the Lakers will go with you, but if LeBron is somewhat hobbled, I'm not sure. That's the interesting part of this, Joe, because the back-to-backs tonight and tomorrow, the back half of this is at Oklahoma City. So the game that would be more in question if you're the Lakers is this one. So maybe you play LeBron today and sit him tomorrow against OKC because you figure you can win without him. I don't know that the leg soreness, quote unquote, is so bad to keep him out here. I would expect him to go. Very, very difficult game. I think more than side here, you're probably looking at total, which has been pushed all the way to 223. Looks like a rather high-scoring game. Greg Popovich, by the way, after his team lost back-to-backs against Milwaukee and Denver, couldn't say enough about how proud he was of this group, how hard they play, how well they share. I think we know that as qualities of this team, and I think they'll show up again here tonight.
Yeah, and Popovich has come a long way, man. It's not as rigid as it has been from what we understand. He's kind of saying, here's the ball, guys. Go have some fun. I'm crotchety. Get off my lawn. Do whatever you want. It's actually worked for these guys, Tony Finn. The Spurs, pretty fun, young, energetic, up-tempo, and do you trust the Lakers' defense here on the road to be able to win this game here by at least 3 or 4 points?
Well, as I mentioned on our first show of the year with these 2 fine gentlemen, that was that there's a lot of moving parts for this Lakers team that it was going to take a while for them to become cohesive. And I would say the sooner the better for them. But they're not going to be the same defensive type of team that they've been. They as you mentioned, Joe, they sacrificed some of their 2 best wing defenders to have the group that they have right now. And in truth, it's early, but their opponents are taking almost 40%, 38 change. I looked at Clean the Glass this morning, their website, and was looking at some numbers, and 38.4, 38.5% of the shots at the rim, which in turn, with the lack of wing defenders, has created that most of the 3-point shots against the Lakers are coming from the corners, which you really don't want, because 48, I'm looking at it right now, 48.1% shooting mark from the corners for the Lakers opponents. They at garbage time, as far as garbage time points goes, their defensive rating is not very good, 112.2, 24th in the league. This comes down to, really, I think this game comes down to, Rob mentioned it, you got a team that's much better in transition defense this year than they were last year. Last year, Popovich just threw his arms up and said, you know what, guys, I give up. You guys can't play defense. Let's push the pace. And we made some money pushing the pace last year, playing overs in San Antonio when the matchup was right. But at this, I think San Antonio is 7th in transition defense, and the Lakers are 8th in transition offense, or vice versa, right in there. So here it is. Can San Antonio stop the Lakers' transition offense? And they're one of the best. As long as LeBron's there, he's the best in the business in transition. I don't trust the Lakers' defense. In fact, I made that mistake. Like I said, one of my 3 losses this year, Lakers under with Memphis. And I thought this was going to be a battle in the paint where one team protects the rim, one team attacks the rim, and it wasn't that way. It was a free-for-all, and so I don't trust the defense. If I'm on this game, and I'm not, guys, if I'm on this game, I'm playing over the number, even without LeBron. Yeah.
Even without LeBron. All right, expecting up-tempo, expecting to go. There you go. If I'm playing this game, just give me the money line because the Lakers ain't getting it done. There it is, contrarian play of the day, guys. Spurs, take the points, take the money line. let's face it, at home, they'll win this thing outright. All right, we're moving on here to our first featured matchup. And this is an interesting game here, guys, because of basically what we saw happen to the Denver Nuggets last night. Now they're taking on the Utah Jazz. Kind of a tough spot here. And Skee, my biggest problem with the Nuggets is depth. They don't have any. In fact, I believe that their bench is basically averaging about 27, 28 points a game. They're being outscored crazily. And the problem is if you don't keep Jokic and company on the court the entire game, it's very, very hard for them to maintain leads here like what we saw against Cleveland. So now against Utah, what do you think of this matchup here? Are you willing to back the dog in Denver, or do you think Utah's got some value at home here?
I think you make a good point. If I like Denver, I like them early. I want to play on that starting unit, and I know Jokic plays majority of the first quarter. I know they've been good in the first quarter, going back a few years, or a couple years at least. I don't have the numbers, but that would be the way I look at Denver. The thing that keeps me off the full game is I just really don't want to play teams in spots where they're on the road 2 nights in a row.
Right.
So I get that they kind of punted on that game versus the Cavs. It was maybe a look-ahead game for this game here. But even then, it's just not a situation that I want to put my money on. So if I was going to play the full game, it would be OKC. For those people who say they like Denver, I would take Denver first quarter. And something interesting that I probably like more in this game, I probably would take Jokic assists.
Ooh.
And he averaged over 8 assists last season. In a couple matchups, I remember him getting closer to the 9 mark versus Utah team. And I just see him dragging Gobert out the paint and maybe dishing it off to his teammates for some easier baskets. So I like him over 6.5 assists. I think it was plus money earlier.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And it's funny because this game, Rob, has just been pretty rock solid. Tickets coming in, two-way action on both here. Total as well, 218.5. We're seeing 7s for Utah. And one of the ways to approach Denver, like Skee said, is live bet them, go against them in the second half. That depth is a problem, and any team that you trust their bench probably going to be able to not cover it, but pull away from this team in the second half. How are you going to approach it?
Well, I'm going to start this by reading off a couple of quotes in honor of my good buddy Teddy Covers.
Yes.
But I'll say this. Skee and I usually have a couple of laughs over the amount of times that Ja Morant talks about team failures. Second on the list in amount of laughs you'll get is the amount of times that Michael Malone chastises his team. And it's only 3 games in and he's starting already. Does not like what he's seeing from his team. Quote from Michael Malone after they've committed 62 turnovers in the first 3 games. It's getting out of hand. I don't like what I'm seeing from this team right now. We'll see if sometimes Denver has responded to his words, but I think those were early on, and more recently, his words have fallen on deaf ears. I don't know if it's just the group that he has without Jamal Murray in there, or if it's they're tuning him out, one or the other. But we're going to see how they respond here tonight. Situationally, Joe, this game's all over the place. For the Denver Nuggets, it's the second straight game, 2 nights in a row, right, in high altitude. You come from your place, now you go to Utah, second highest altitude. Do you wear out late in the game? Very much a possibility. You would probably counter that by saying, but you know what, Rob, they play in Denver. They shouldn't wear out early in the year in high altitude. We're going to find out. Then the second thing situationally is, do either of these teams bounce back? Denver shot the ball horrendously last night against the Cavaliers. I think you pointed out some of the numbers. They go 40.7% from the field overall, 23.7 from 3. Generally speaking, they're a better shooting team than that, especially when you have Jokic in the middle. So I would look for their numbers to maybe improve somewhat. Their problems at the free throw line, and I don't want to jump to conclusions here and say it's a bad free throw shooting team, but in your first 3 games, when you go 66.7, 62.5, 55.6 from the free throw line, that's not good, especially in a close game. That's really not good. Utah's offense hasn't gotten untracked yet either. 44% shooting at home against OKC. 41% shooting at Sacramento. That's important because Oklahoma City and Sacramento ranked 24th and 28th in defensive efficiency, and Utah couldn't shoot it against those two teams. Again, it's 2 games. That stuff's all going to change. It'll regress back to the mean. We just don't know exactly when. For Utah, the rest versus rust debate rings even louder. They haven't played a game in 4 days by the time they tip off. So do they come out fired up, or do they come out planking them off the rim? I'm not so sure. The scheduling advantage, I don't know which way it goes, Joe, for either side here. But I do think that Denver probably bounces back with a better effort here. I just can't see them shooting the basketball as lousy as they did last night. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, though. Both of these teams have turned to defense to start the season. And generally speaking, prior to some of the playoff results we saw where we could get on real runs just playing these two teams over, the Jamal Murray versus Donovan Mitchell shootout type games, they were known as defensive teams. So I think maybe the total stays under in this contest.
All right, looking to keep it to under in there. And what do you think here? Is this a buy low spot, Tony Finn, on Denver, who's been notorious over the last couple of years? They look like hot garbage, and they come back, and they bounce back the next game. So I did find that, the Nuggets as a road dog off a back-to-back over the last 3 years, 8-2 against the number. This is a game that is made for the Denver Nuggets, right? To bounce back just when you think everything is falling apart, they come back and they show up and they show out. Do you trust them to do that here?
Well, because it's funny you said that, because I was just looking it up, and last year they were they were as an away underdog overall, they were 6-9 as an away dog. And I looked up with no rest. I didn't look whether it was home or away, but I think we can pretty much classify, or at least container this game as the same thing because of the altitude issues. With no rest, I found that the Nuggets were not. Well, they were 7-6. They were basically a push. So maybe I guess I didn't differentiate between the home and away. But on 2 to 3 days rest last year, Utah 8-3 against the number. Yeah. So I listen. 3 days rest, Utah's sitting on. Denver's on a back-to-back. And don't make no mistake about it. Rob's correct. This Utah team is elite defensively. That we talked about. Hell no Utah, hell no Jazz. The three of us went for the last 2 years. It was either me talking about poorly about their wonderful head coach and his staff, or about not trusting this team. They couldn't decide. We went that pandemic. They couldn't decide when they were down in the bubble down by you, Joe, whether they were going to be offensive or defensive. We thought they would be defensive, especially with their big guy in the middle. But now, this is a team to be reckoned with. I think they can shoot, they can score, they can defend, they can do anything they want to do. And you guys are absolutely spot on. Denver, they said, listen, they have no bench. You can't trust their bench, and they can't shoot from the perimeter. And this is an issue. I mean, Jokic got his. He got 24, 19 rebounds yesterday. But they were held 9 for 38 from the 3-point arc, and they were turned over 22 times, guys. So this is Utah minus the number. If I'm here, it's Utah minus the touchdown. I'm in on the Jazz. I'm not in I'm not in on these Nuggets. Not the way they're playing right now.
Wow, this has got a hell no Lakers, hell no Nuggets show written all over it. My word. And by the way, the number is as a road dog off a back-to-back, Tony Finn, over the last 3 years. They've been 8-2, the Denver Nuggets, against the number. All right, let's head to the East Coast if we could, and let's take a look here at another game. A lot of eyeballs are going to be on here tonight. The Sixers taking on the New York Knicks. 218.5 is what it opened up. That's starting to creep down here a little bit. I am starting to see some Knicks love, obviously. Embiid on the injury report again. What else is new? Don't know. Will he go? Will he not go? The total moving down. And the Knicks here is interesting. And Rob Vino, you and I were kind of talking about how successful it was last year to be able to back these Knicks in an under situation in the first half, and how they'd how profitable they were. But Man, it seems to be feast or famine here. They're chucking up threes all over the place. So if they have a good night of shooting, they're scoring more points than any of us ever thought. And if they don't, well, then you get what you just got last game against the Orlando Magic. So which is it?
Yeah, and what you got in their last game, according to their head coach, Tom Thibodeau, was just a lack of understanding what it takes to win basketball games still for the New York Knicks. It's a team that got outscored 39-24 down the stretch. They had that game pretty much wrapped up mid-third quarter, late third quarter, and then they just let it get away. Like you said, Joe, they probably got, they were an undefeated team. They had just whacked Orlando, probably got a little cocky, and ended up choking away a basketball game. That's what Thibodeau's referring to here. I don't think you'll see any such thing here tonight against a divisional rival, against the Philadelphia 76ers. You probably get a focused effort out of the Knicks, who this new kind of newfangled three-guard offense with R.J. Barrett, who's a guard by nature, playing small forward, really seems to work well for them. Of course, you're going to have some problems with Joel Embiid in the middle. But the Knicks do have a shot-blocking presence and a guy more than willing to play body to body with him. And if the knee is acting up whatsoever, in Oklahoma City the other night, he didn't really have to go full throttle. Joel didn't, for them to win that basketball game. Here tonight, I think it'll get much more physical. So we'll see, when you have your backup center, Andre Drummond, who was out the other night and potentially out here tonight as well, it could put Philly in a position where they're very, very small in this game. Very small. Without those two guys, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but I don't know that there's much beyond 6'8" on that team after those two. So the Knicks could be in a pretty good situation for a lot of reasons, motivationally, intensity and focus-wise, the fact that the two centers from the side might not go. And the Sixers' defense the last two games, guys, despite the fact that they have Matisse Thybulle, but without Ben, and it'll be talked about for a lot this year while he doesn't play. But their last two games, they've allowed 47 and 48% shooting. If they allow the Knicks to shoot that way, they probably don't win this game. The Knicks are the number one team in the NBA in number of possessions per game. That speaks to offensive rebounding, second chances, a lot of stuff, but they're number one. Philadelphia is number 30 in that particular statistic. Now, that's somewhat misleading because if you're a really good shooting team, then you make your first shot and you don't have a lot of possessions. And Philadelphia is the number 2 offensive efficiency team and number 1 in true shooting percentage. So take that number for what it's worth. I think the biggest advantage in this game, Tony and you just talked about the Denver bench. I think the biggest difference in this game is Knicks bench against Sixers bench. The Knicks bench goes 5 deep and with scores. I mean, Derrick Rose can score. Alec Burks can score. Emmanuel Quickly can score. Obi Toppin and Taj Gibson rounded out. And on the other side, Niang came over from Utah, pretty good. Thybulle, more defense than offense. And Korkmaz, one night good shooter, one night horrendous shooter. I think the Knicks are the right side here. I think the line move is correct. And the total would be coming down if people suspect Embiid isn't playing. Just like what we saw last night with that Beal situation in Brooklyn, Washington, right, Joe? It's kind of the same thing. But I like the Knicks minus the short number.
Yeah, it's starting to trend to 2.5 in a few places as well, Skee. If Embiid is announced, Skee, do you anticipate this line coming a little bit back towards Philly, or are you leaning one way or another towards to the Knicks here?
I am, and I was just checking out some quick stats, but what I like here, you guys kind of talked about it a little bit. There's a few things. For one, Drummond and Embiid both game time decision, and if one of them or both of them are out, that gives a huge rebounding advantage to the Knicks, and that's one way how you win a game. Secondly, you're missing still Ben Simmons. He's one of the better perimeter defenders for this Philadelphia team. And I think it was you, Joe, to start it off, who mentioned, I mean, the Knicks are shooting a lot more threes now. Last year, 32% of their attempts were three-pointers. This year, 45% of them are. It's almost half of their shots are three-pointers. So they're still hitting them for the most part. And if they hit them in this game, I can see them winning by good margin. So the fact that you have a banged-up Embiid and the Knicks off of that loss, I think they come to play today. And I probably will play them more on the first half. I mean, we saw them go into a big run in the first half last year, and they were great at home. Philly's bad on the road. I think I like Knicks first half here.
Yeah, there's got to be a couple of three-pointer props somewhere in there on the Knicks side that we should probably look at as well, Skee. I'm sure that those numbers will be very interesting the way they're chucking them up there, Tony Finn. Let me ask you about the total, Finn. It's come down here a little bit, but obviously the variance of the Knicks shooting threes, if they are on, is this total a little low for you?
Yes. I think we all need to, if things continue as they have been, as Skee so poignantly pointed out, it's funny. The Knicks are they're kind of an aberration a little bit compared to last year's team. Rob mentioned the depth of their bench, and this year they're shooting, like Skee said, 45.5% of their shots are from beyond the arc. But the funny thing is, around the rim, they're 76.7. I mean, their rim numbers are just within 4 feet of the basket, 76%. The rest of those are three-pointers. They're not taking any shots from free throw. I mean, it's either within 5 feet of the basket or beyond the arc, which is a little different. Of course, they have a little different makeup, right? Their DNA off-season, they pick up some guys that don't defend that well, and they're known for their scoring. So I'm going to watch this. I think that if you guys, one of the comforts of my life is if I'm feeling a little bit, lost, or I need something, maybe I'm feeling like I need a vaccine for my failing memory at my age, is I just go to the NBA injury report. And so everything comes back to me. Embiid's on the injury list. So I know where I am. I know what decade I'm in, because Embiid is on the injury list all the time. If he doesn't play, I think if it's announced that he's not playing, I think the Knicks go to be a 4 or 5 point favorite. I think when they announce Embiid is going to play, I think this number comes back to more of a -1 or pick. So I'm not on this game, guys. I wish I'd like to be on the Knicks here. I really would. But as of this shoot, we don't know enough for me to step out. So that's it.
All right. Well, that's it. I thought you were going to say, at my age, I gotta go into the closet for the reserve, the reserve hash that I got in the back there from '78, along with a Quaalude or two. Yes, I know exactly where you're going there, Finn. I know how that works. Go ahead, Skee.
You got my blood going.
I just was looking over again. I mean, we know how good New York was in the first half last year. So far this year, +10 margin compared to the Sixers +5. And then second half margin for the Knicks so far, -4. Sixers +4. So I think we still want to get in and get out.
Yep. Live better. That's it. Back in the Sixers in the second half. Take the Knicks in the first. Bye-bye. And then everyone goes to Tony's house for a Quaalude buffet. All right, here we go. Next game. Rolling up here, guys. One more. Featured, the overtime game. That's right. Who else could we possibly have on a short card like this? If the name Golden State is on the card, guess what? We're going to talk about their total here, taking on that G League team known as the Oklahoma City Thunder here. Total opens up 224, and it's interesting because it really hasn't moved. I'm seeing 223.5, a bunch of 224s here, and Skee, I'll come back to you. Start me off here with this game. I mean, dare I say Golden State might appear to be back a little bit here, not because of Steph Curry, but maybe because they finally have people that can score outside of Steph Curry that aren't hurt on this team. What do you think of this Golden State team taking on OKC?
Well, yeah, I think that the supporting players have definitely gotten a lot better. Chemistry is better, however you want to call it. But OKC is just bad. In general, I don't want to look towards Golden State on the road. I think they were better at home, even though they've been winning this year. But like I said, OKC is one of the worst two teams in the league. If it's not them, it's probably the Magic. They lose by an average of 22 points per game. And the thing that stood out to me, like I said, I just really don't want to lay with Golden State on the road. It's just not my thing. So how can I play this game? I got to play OKC team total under. Like, they struggle to score against the Rockets, who give it up against everybody. And all they want to do is play with pace and not play much defense. And OKC barely got 90 points. So I don't have a lot of confidence in this team. And I know they play at a slow pace. We'll see if Golden State can speed them up. But even last year, they averaged 105 points per game. I just don't see them making it to 107.5. So I like it under.
I think their best defender is not even playing, right? Favors is out here, Rob. I think
Yes,
so. So if he's out, I mean, they've lost by what? 21, 33, 12. We know that they're going to want to go up tempo. That, of course, Golden State. They're playing faster than ever here, Rob. So I don't know. Does it feel like we're going to get 230 out of these two teams, or is the under more comfortable for you?
Is it 230? No, 223 and a half.
No, I'm saying, do you trust we can get to 230 here with these two teams?
Well, maybe this will change your mind, Joe. Here's what Golden State scored against Oklahoma City last year: 147, 136, and 118. So they beat them 147-109. That's 256. They beat them 136-97. That's 233. And then they beat them 118-97. That's 215. That would be under tonight's total. But they won by an average of 33 points a game against Oklahoma City last year. Not much has changed, right? I mean, Golden State's fairly similar personnel-wise to what they were. And Oklahoma City has just added a few more 19-year-olds to their team. So they both want to go quick. To Skee's point, OKC can't score because they don't make shots. I mean, they certainly get enough shots, just not making them. There's always the given night where you do make them, where Lou Dort goes 5 of 8 from 3-point range. But beyond Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, there's just not much in the way of consistent shot making. However, I don't know what kind of defensive effort Golden State's going to bring against these guys. They probably walk in here. You know, Steph Curry's been off so far this year. I wouldn't expect him to be off tonight. Oklahoma City, last 2 games, has allowed 41.5 and 44.7 from beyond the arc. If you're going to allow teams to shoot that, Steph's probably going to go crazy here. Golden State showed they could rack up points against this team last year. They may do enough. If Golden State gets to 130, you're asking yourself, you know, can the other side get you 94? Probably so. 95, probably so, especially with the way Golden State will clown around at the end of the game. So I'd have to probably look over, and it can bite you in the backside because Oklahoma City goes dry so often. But I just don't know how hard Golden State's going to play on defense tonight. I think this is more of an offensive show for them.
Yeah, and it's funny there, Tony Finn, because you look at it and you say, we know in the past Golden State has not taken their foot off the gas, and yet that really wasn't with the starters playing the whole game, scoring 140. It's, you know, this bench is more lethal now for Golden State than we've seen in years past. So might we not even worry about them, dropping a 125, 130 on this team?
I'm not worried about it. I know we're going to do best bets, so I won't go into that too much. I will just say that, there's a lot of different ways to look at this game. Is Golden State as good as they've been so far? Are they going to – I don't think it's sustainable, the fact that they're only giving up 0.93 or 0.94 points per possession. It's just not sustainable, not in the West. And but it's sure sustainable. It's sure practical tonight, right? I mean, the Warriors have a 0.28 net rating in possessions without Stephen Curry. This is without Curry on the floor. And when he's not on the floor, they've been better defensively. They have a better defensive rating, and I think 95.3 for every 100 possession, non-garbage time. So that's the offense. I apologize of OKC, but even with Gil, Alex on the floor, and Dort, who are 2 best defenders, this team has not done a very good job defending any part of the court. And as Rob said, they can't score. Betting market on this as -9. We came to in the studio to shoot this, guys. I think this closes closer to 11. Here's what's happened to me so far. I've been on Golden State quite a few times this year. The one time I've lost with them was they had a 19-point lead. They gave up. They only won by 2. It was against Clippers. And they just couldn't get a rebound late in the game, or they covered that game too because they go to the line and shoot 2. They win, but they won by 2, and they were laying 3. I like Golden State tonight, -10. Outside the total, which we'll talk about in the best bets, I like Golden State. I think 9's a good number for them right now, and I think you're going to give more if you wait till closer to tip.
All right, there you go then, guys. All right, 4 games on the board. There is one extra game, but it's the Rockets, and we already know they suck. So we'll move on to best bets here. Sorry, Robert. Listen, you get the Astros or the Rockets, Robert. You don't get both. You don't get to celebrate Houston in 2 ways there. So, all right, Skee, you know the routine, man. 60 seconds on the clock. We'll ship it to you. Tell us which one of these games you like. What's your best bet? Props. What are you doing? The 60 seconds is all yours, man.
I'm only going to pick this game because I'm going to stand up for Robert. So I'll talk about the Rockets and the Mavericks. But when I look at Dallas, like, they're just not good defensively. And I know the Rockets aren't either, but I just think the Rockets can score just as easy as Dallas should be able to score. And what I've seen from Porzingis and that Dallas team, it's not inspiring. It's not making me want to back them to win by double digits. So I do lean towards the Rockets. But for a best bet on the show, I'm going to go. I mean, like I said, I don't trust either team defensively. We know the Rockets want to play up tempo, take quick shots, and they're going to give up a lot of easy shots. So I looked at the first half here. The number that I got was 112.5. I'm not quite sure where it is right now. But I think Dallas pace numbers, like they're third worst. I think it's just because of who they played. Like Toronto held them down and they played to their pace. Tonight, I think they play up tempo with Houston. And it's an offensive showcase. So first half over 112.5.
All right, boom. Well done there. Suck it up to Robert and the Rockets, please. All right, talk to us here, Rob Vino. What do you think, my man? Where on the card are you going to go here tonight for us?
Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't play Golden State and OKC up and over the number. I think that the decision becomes, do you want to play them first half? Do you want to play them full game? And when you look at the lines, Joe, they're weighted in that direction. I mean, the first half total is 115 for a game that's full game total of 223.5. So well more than half the points are expected to come first half rather than full game. Obviously, the threat of the blowout in the fourth quarter and the garbage time and so forth. But I would probably take advantage of the full game value here over 223.5. To Tony Finn's point about how great those Golden State point per possession defensive numbers look. With those great numbers, they've still allowed 114, 113, and 107. So it's really not that great when you see what the other team scores for a full game. And if they come with any lack of defensive intensity, which I think they will, I don't think they feel like they're threatened here, then you're going to get yourself an over. So I think over 223 is the right way to go. Sorry, Robert.
Yeah, no, because you didn't open up with how good the Rockets are. He buzzed your ass there even before the clock went down. We got to have a word with his homer. Buzz this guy. All right, let's go, Tony Finn. Good. You better start off with how great the Rockets are. Otherwise, you ain't going to get nothing in. 60 seconds. Go ahead, Finn.
Well, the Rockets are the best team in basketball.
Oh, it's horse.
A decade ago. I didn't even know. I thought they moved. I thought they moved to Corpus Christi. Quickly, Rob, the 3 teams that Golden State played against, according to Skee, would be a pretty good competition. Lakers, Clippers, and, of course, the Kings, who are going to score. They're not going to defend. So that's kind of a tilt there on that. Listen, 3-0 straight up, 2-1 against the spread. The time they didn't cover 1 point against the Clippers, they win by 2. They're supposed to win by 3. A 2.8 net rating in possessions without Curry, and they're going to play without Curry quite a bit tonight because they're going to have such a big lead. And he has been sitting on the bench. He's not playing as many minutes as he was last year. 9.44 points per possession. They can do tonight. Oklahoma City can do nothing on either side of the goal. This isn't I'm not concerned about how much Oklahoma City scores as much as they give up. They've been so bad. But I'm under. This game screams under. Robert, I'm sorry about Houston, but they stink.
God, Robert, he Corpus Christi your ass, dude. Like, he actually threw out Corpus Christi in there. That's terrible. All right, guys, when you put it all together, let's take a look at one more time at what we got here, including the contrarian play of the day back in the San Antonio Spurs get it done at home as a dog against the Lakers. Skee says, listen, if it ain't broke, don't break. He likes those Mavs over there, 112.5. Rockets, Mavericks, also going to lean to just about everybody with their 3-point props here in the Knicks game. Tony Finn, Warriors, Thunders, under 223.5. And Rob Vino says, no. We're going over 223.5. So you've got battling opinions here, guys, which is what makes this show so much fun. You get to decide what it is that you want to play. And either way, guys, we wish you the best of luck with your plays here. So on behalf of Skee, best bets, locked and loaded at Wager Talk. Also, Rob Vino, locked and loaded at Wager Talk, and Tony Finn, guys. So head over there, wagertalk.com. Get ready to fill your cart this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A little Halloween special, guys. 31% off any 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages. Just our way of saying, well, happy Halloween and welcome to November. Cannot believe we are there. So either way, guys, best of luck with your plays here tonight. Hit the bell in the upper right-hand corner. Come back and join us again tomorrow. We do it all over again for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. Good luck, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, we know that you might be sick of hearing about spooky good deals this Halloween weekend, but we've chosen this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to bring back one of our most popular specials. The Wager Talk Fill Your Cart is back. This Friday, October 29th, Saturday, October 30th, and Sunday, October 31st, you will get a 31% discount on everything you fit into your cart. Whether it's a daily package, a 1-day all access, a 3, 7, or 30 package, a full season of college hoops, or a full 12 months from your favorite handicapper, you will save 31% with coupon Halloween31. You can fill your goodie bag as many times as you want until the clock strikes midnight on Sunday. Finish off October with this ghostly good deal and fill your cart wisely.